going on YouTube? We are back with episode 4, where I'm about to paint a 2018 BMW M5 with the paint code C1K. Let's get right to it. Feel free to hit that subscribe button, by the way. So I'm starting off with my 490, which is a clear base coat mixed with 492 or reduced with 492 and 494. And basically I'm going to take my base coat and blend into it. So this particular color called for G7, and I was a little bit surprised at first. I thought it would call for G6, but I went with it. I mean, I've even seen this color call for G5 before. In episode 2, that blue on that Hyundai that I was spraying, it called for G5, but I knew right away that G5 was not going to work. I was going to be there forever. And let's just be honest, it saves you a lot of time and energy by just choosing the correct undertone. Sometimes it calls for you to just, trust your instincts. If you think that you should go a different route, maybe it calls for G5 and you should go G6, or maybe it calls for G6 and you think G7 will work. Sometimes you just have to just take that chance, and maybe you can discover something new on a different color that you've never sprayed before. It's just all a part of painting. And one good thing that you can do, I didn't do it on this color. I do it on colors that I struggle with, but on this color, I trusted the spray out card on the screen. Is one thing that you can do is you could do a spray out card, and then you can do a letdown panel, which is where you put one coat, then another coat, then another coat, and then you peel your tape, and then you get to see how many coats that it takes to achieve the color that you're looking to achieve, and it works wonders when it comes to paint. Every painter should do it. A lot of people are getting away from it, but I have a whole spray out collection of different cards of different colors and makes and models that I've painted. And sometimes when I have a color that I know I've painted before but I'm not sure, I just go back to those spray out cards and I put it up to the panel, and if it looks like it could be blended, I go ahead and go with it. So my first coat, I went really heavy, and that's because I didn't know how this color would cover. And then a lot of times with colors like this, they can go blotchy or look a little dark and modelly. So, but it didn't do that on this color. So, and this color actually covers like a dream. So, nothing really too crazy with this color. As you can see, I'm applying my second coat of base into that 490, and I'm applying it pretty wet and uniform. So I can honestly say that with this particular color, I really enjoy spraying this color. It's not going blotchy or modelly. As you can see, I got a 50% overlap. You have to make sure that you be careful when you're spraying colors like this, transparent colors, which is this particular blue is not that transparent. It didn't call for that much 412, but yeah, you have to be very, very careful and mindful when you're spraying this particular color, because as you're doing your 50% overlap, if you spraying too heavy in one spot, it will dry looking a little darker than the rest of the panel. So just make sure you just staying, keeping everything consistent with your spray pattern. That way everything flows right, and all your metallics are laying down nice and even, and your color blends out the way that you want it to. One thing I forgot to mention is when I was mixing the paint for this particular color, I reduced it by 20% for better coverage, and being that it was a flat panel, it would be easier. But ideally, when I blend, I reduce by 30%. So as you can see, we're now approaching my control coat. Everything looks well and even. As long as I can turn around. So everything looks well and even. So what I'm about to do is apply another coat of 490 just in those areas where my metallics are just going to land. So there's no sand piling or anything like that. And yeah, ready for the control coat. So with your control coat, what I like to do is I spray it the same. A lot of people they drop their PSIs. I spray everything with my DV1 at 13 PSI. It works for me. So I'm going to do the exact same thing right here, but actually I speed up a little bit on my control coats and I step back just a tad. And basically, I'm watching my metallics as they lay down. It's very important when you apply a control coat to not put it on too heavy. But what you're going to want to do is lay it down in an even, orderly fashion, and you want it to go on with like sort of a mist, an even, I would say an even mist, so that uh, all your metallics are laying down even, and yeah, you achieve that factory look, that factory finish. And I will say that some colors, especially silvers, require you to put on two control coats. It's just how, if it models or if it's looking blotchy, you may want to put on another control coat. But I always do one control coat and see how it looks. And I may do another one, but it's two at the maximum. And then when you get into quad coats and things of that nature, those type of techniques in painting quad coats, it may require that you cross hatch. Well, actually, it actually does require that you cross hatch to get the metallics to lay down the right way. So, yeah, this is my first coat of clear. Um, I want to express how important it is to purge before you start clearing, or even before you start sealing and basing as well. Because a lot of times when you mix up paint, some of the things that you mix may be at the top of the gun, and if it's not shaken all the way properly or purged, then that can come out right when you start pulling that trigger, and that's a very very tough problem to have. Because ideally, when you're painting, you don't want to ever sand your paint. Me personally, I don't like sanding my paint. So if I can alleviate that, I do everything I possibly can so I don't have to do that. I find that a lot of times that when you sanding your paint, especially waterborne paint, all the particles that are in the air ends up just sticking to the panel, and then when you clear, you're getting trash in your paint. So ideally, I like to use my tack rag before I paint, and then that's the only time that I like to use the tack rag, because I found with waterborne paint, if you tack in between coats, you take the chance of having your paint have streaks in it from where tried to tack off all the particles around the area, and it's just a nightmare trying to fix that issue, because then you run into problems where you might have to put paint in an area where your blend is not supposed to go, and then you end up having a color issue with the paint not matching because you have paint trying to cover that area where the tack rag has made streaks in your paint. So it's just an all around nightmare that causes so many problems, and which can be alleviated by just following the steps. Routine is key in painting. Just make sure you just follow your steps, and you get the same results every single time. So this is my second coat of clear. I should have mentioned it on the first coat of clear, but I'm using PPG's 530, which it requires you to let flash for 8 to 10 minutes. What I mean by flash is the amount of time that you let sit and kind of like harden up or cure a little bit before you apply another coat. And what that does is it gives you the factory finish, gives you a chance to achieve that factory finish. Um, because if the longer that you let a panel sit before applying another coat, then the more orange peel you would get. And nobody likes orange peel. Everybody likes their paint to look smooth, and a lot of people say glass or whatever. But and then if you get on it, if you apply another coat too fast, then without that clear, kind of setting a little bit, then you take the chances of your paint running or you getting solvent pop, and that's when you have a lot of little. It looks like trash, but it's like uniform. That's when it's uniform. That's another indication of how you know that it's solvent pop. So I think it's quite genius of PPG to come up with the exact amount of time that it takes each one of their clears to achieve that factory look. And so with this one, it's 8 to 10 minutes. I also spray 520, which is 5 minutes between each coat. And in a production shop, that's pretty much what we use. Occasionally, when we just have like a bumper only or something like that, we might get into like 2,000 or something like that, or 4,000. But in a production shop like the one that I work at, we mainly use 520 and 530. I use 520 on regular jobs because it's basically the same clear, just on flat surfaces. I always use 530 because it's a flat surface, and being that 520 is a little bit more of a fast clear, uh, going through a bake cycle, it could die back on me. So 530 is ideal, the clear to use when you're clearing anything that's flat, any flat surfaces. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to do a quick walk around so y'all can see the finished results. Feel free to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And like always, stay humble and keep going.